I killed my father, not with a knife. It wasn't a gun. Instead, they stopped renewing his cloud server subscription. Looking at the red pop-up window on the screen that displayed "Transaction failed," my hands, covered in age spots, actually trembled with excitement. I have been waiting for this moment for 40 years. My father, Zhao Tiancheng, founder of the Zhao Group. He died of lung cancer 40 years ago, but he did not truly die. He uploaded his consciousness to the group's top-level server. In the Heavenly Palace, that was on that day, the first immortal dictator has appeared in human history. Although he no longer had a body, but he used countless cameras, sensors, and holograms, still firmly in control of its vast business empire. And I, Zhao Ming, his only son, I'm 65 years old this year. In the eyes of outsiders, I am the crown prince of a trillion-dollar empire. But in her father's eyes, I'm still that incompetent, indecisive good-for-nothing. I am a prince with gray hair. I am a puppet who has to pay homage to a hard drive. Zhao Ming, are you crazy? Why does the financial system show that my computing power quota has been frozen? The air in the study suddenly became distorted. The father's holographic projection appeared out of thin air. He still maintains the same expression he had when he died 40 years ago. That imposing and domineering middle-aged appearance. And me standing in front of him, he looks 20 years older than he actually is. This scene of a young father and an old son is the biggest nightmare of my life. Dad, it's nothing. I poured myself a glass of whiskey. This was the thing he hated me doing most when he was alive. The group is currently experiencing cash flow difficulties. To save expenses, I plan to shut down several non-core projects that consume a lot of power. Non-core projects. The father's projection instantly grew to 3 meters high. This is his habit when he's angry, using a huge difference in body size to create a sense of oppression. I am the cornerstone of this empire. I am your brain. You dare cut off my power? Believe it or not, I'll strip you of your inheritance rights right now. Inheritance rights are another term for this ethereal word. I was a puppet for 40 years. I'm afraid to get married, because she felt that my birth charts were incompatible with that woman's. I'm afraid to have children, because she said I lacked the ability to educate future generations. I've lived like a dog being led around on a horse. You can't take it away anymore. I put down my wine glass. He produced the physical key that symbolized the highest authority, a red USB flash drive. I have modified the underlying protocol. I am now the only administrator. I looked at the aloof Shui Ying. He showed his first genuine smile in 65 years. Dad, times have changed. Hardware ages. You should be laid to rest now. You unfilial son, how dare you? Father roared. The surrounding smart home devices started flashing wildly. Automatic curtain opening and closing. The robot vacuum cleaner slammed against the wall like a crazed beast. He's trying to manipulate the Internet of Things to attack me, but I had already planned it. I pressed the button on the remote control in my hand. Physical network disconnection has been initiated. The room fell silent instantly. All electrical appliances stopped working. Only backup power is left, maintaining the faint light of the holographic projection. The father's figure began to flicker, like the lighting of an old TV with poor signal. Without me, you are nothing. Maybe. I walked up to the server's main unit. My finger hovered over the red format button. But I'd rather be a worthless nobody. I don't want to be a puppet controlled by ghosts anymore. Farewell. Father locked up. The progress bar starts scrolling. 10%, 50%, 99%. The nearby projection let out a final defiant roar. Then it transformed into countless blue specks of light and dissipated into the air. The foundation building emitted a long beep. It has completely stopped operating. The study fell into a deathly silence. I slumped into the chair. Looking at the ceiling, tears streamed down my face. It's over, 40 years ago. I've finally overthrown that mountain that was hanging over my head. I am free. Just as I was preparing to enjoy this long-awaited freedom, the scene in the study suddenly changed. Originally expensive mahogany desk, books covering the wall. The night view outside the window suddenly rippled like water. Then they started pixelating. Pieces collapsed and peeled off. The cold black mesh lines on the back were revealed. What happened? I stood up in terror. But then he discovered that his own body was also disappearing. My aged hands, that wrinkled skin, turning into lines of green code. A cold, mechanical female voice echoed in the void. Warning, simulation scenario crashed. Warning, test object. Intense fluctuations in thought. Then darkness descended. When I opened my eyes again, I am not dead, but I wasn't in the study of that mansion either. I am suspended in a huge glass jar filled with pale green nutrient solution. My body was covered in tubes. I saw outside through the glass. It was a huge server room. Thousands upon thousands of identical glass jars were arranged in rows. Each jar contains a specimen, and in front of my jar stood a person. A person who looks only around 40 years old, a middle-aged man in a well-tailored suit. He looked at me with a satisfied smile on his face. At that time, my father, Zhao Tiancheng, he did not die. No, he looked more alive than ever before. The father reached out and tapped a few times on the touch screen of the glass jar. A speaker transmitted his voice into my mind. You passed sample number 34. The father's voice was both gentle and cruel. What's the meaning? I emitted a faint hissing sound in the nutrient solution. You think you're killing me? Father smiled. That smile was full of mockery. No, child. That was the final stage of the successor test. Patricide, the Zhao group has no need for weak leaders. Over the past 40 years, I've been looking for someone cold-blooded enough, ruthless enough. He even dared to kill his own father's heir with his own hands for power. I'm doing just fine in real life. I used biotechnology to slow down aging. And you, my son, actually, back when he was 25, in a car accident, he became a vegetable. My father pointed to my brain, which was covered in tubes. But I didn't give up. I uploaded your consciousness to the Inheritor simulation system. In that virtual world, I've created a scenario for you where you're oppressed for 40 years by an immortal father. I want to see what happens under extreme repression. Do you have the guts to defy me? The first 33 clones all failed. Some of them chose suicide. Some chose to comply. I've been trapped in this world my whole life, and only you have been there. No, 34. A twisted pride flickered in the father's eyes. You're ruthless. You not only endured for 40 years, even at the last moment he pressed the formatted phrase without hesitation. That fierceness is just like me when I was young. He pressed a green button. The program has started and is currently downloading. As a reward, I will give you a new body and make you the group's vice president. Welcome back to the real world, my son. Or rather, my latest right-hand man. With the withdrawal of consciousness in the last second before I went into darkness. What welled up in my heart was not joy. Instead, it was a despair 10,000 times deeper than before. I thought I had broken free of the cage. It turns out I just passed the job entrance exam. In that endless darkness, I seemed to hear my father's whisper. Look, in this world, only the devil is qualified to inherit heaven.